Welcome to the 49ers Cutback. Today we want to get really in-depth on the Philadelphia Eagles, so we brought in our very own insider. So joining us today, Mr. Ralph Burgoz.
Yay.
Yay.
How's it going, Ralph?
I know
Good,
him.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Alex, what you got for him?
All right, so first and foremost, Mr. Burgoz. It's a long time no see.
Right.
Missed you, man. After a quiet 2019, he was fairly productive, but it didn't stand out. It didn't pop. You know, he didn't take over that backfield until late in the season. Miles Sanders has kind of been the bright spot for the Eagles offense since he came back week 2 from his hamstring injury. Is this surprising to you? Are you glad? Obviously, you're probably glad about it, but does it surprise you at all that he has emerged as the back that he has so far?
No, not at all. I mean, he has taken over that role and is pretty much their go-to everything back, especially right now when they have no receivers. So they're using him as much as they can, which is smart, you know, to get him out in the open space and to get some offense going.
Absolutely, big time. They need it.
Yeah, it's been kind of a tough year for the Eagles as far as injuries as well. And this week, more injuries have come up with the receivers. I know Arcega-Whiteside, they said, has a calf. Deshaun Jackson has the hamstring. Do you think the Eagles will have enough to take advantage of the 49ers having a depleted secondary with no Emmanuel Mosley and no Richard Sherman?
No. I mean, I got to be completely honest. They're just hurt in every aspect. I mean, they just brought in a kid over from the Panthers. They have him listed as a tight end, but he'd be an awfully skinny tight end. I mean, he's tall. He's got good hands. He did really excellent over in Iowa State, but they're just hurting. They need something to happen. That's why the running backs are going to have to really pick up their play.
You said Iowa State. Is that Hakeem Butler?
Hakeem Butler, yes, it is.
Your guy,
That's one of my
yeah.
guys.
Is he really?
I really do like Hakeem Butler.
He was a quiet pick because
Yeah.
he was at the Cardinals. I believe they
Arizona's
picked
first
him up.
pick in the 4th round.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Jackson out, if he's still out this week, and Ertz underperforming a little bit, and all the injuries they have, who's a receiver or maybe even a running back, just a skill position guy that could emerge as another threat outside of Miles Sanders?
Well, the thing is how everybody's saying, Ertz is underperforming. I think he is just starting to find his groove. He had a good game last week, and he's been improving weekly. But when you have no offensive line in the first 2 games to protect your quarterback, it's hard for him to see Ertz squirting out in the flat or whatever. So I think Ertz is going to be doing good things, especially when they, in my opinion, they kind of dissed him by not giving him a contract, extending his contract. So I think he'll do just fine, especially with Dallas out. I mean, he's their only really go-to guy right now.
Yeah, that's kind of big with the receivers already out and then Dallas being out as well. That's.
I mean, who else are you going to go to? And with Deshaun out,
Yeah.
he's their man.
Man.
So Whiteside's going to have to step up. Their rookie receiver. I mean, he hasn't really done anything, but they haven't given him a shot yet. So.
What about Jonathan Hightower?
Yes. Yeah, somebody is going to have to step up and really perform because they have no choice.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to come up, which leads me to they're going to have to be very creative, which is why I think they need to incorporate Hurts in the offense.
Right. So that's going to be like the X Factor guy, you think? Somebody that could be an X Factor?
Yes, I honestly think so. We saw a little bit of it last week. Need to put in some Wildcat. Need to maybe even split them out. Put them in the slot maybe. We shall see.
So you just kind of talked about it. You talked a little bit about Ertz is slowly coming into his own. My question, though, is more to do with the fact that he's getting up there age-wise. He's not out of his prime, but he's slowly coming into that age where you start to see most tight ends, other than the super elites like the Tony Gonzalez's who play for 1,000 years. He's starting to get to that point, though, where maybe age is a factor in why it's taking him so long to get started. So my question is his time running out in Philly, and is Dallas Goedert the future at that position for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I definitely think Dallas is the future. I think that's what they were thinking. You know, that's kind of their formula. They always do that. They reload there at tight end because that's pretty much their plan. Their offensive scheme is to get the tight end involved that much. And I definitely think it'll hurt with Dallas out because that's what they normally do.
Cool.
Yeah, do you think that with Deshaun out, they're going to struggle to stretch the field? Do you think there's any chance that they're going to put any stress on the 49ers secondary by stretching the field?
I honestly don't think so.
Really?
I mean, they're going to have to go quick hit, little dinks and dunks, you know, have running back coming out the backfield, swing passes. They're going to have to be very creative, I believe, because I don't think they have the tools to do that. They may surprise us. These rookies or these practice players may come out and show us something. It'll be interesting.
Okay, heading over to the defensive side of the ball for a little bit here. Who is a player on the Eagles defense that we may not, that non-Eagles fans might not know much about, but could be an impact player on the game this weekend?
That they don't know about? Well, nobody really knows their linebacking core because they are just very quiet. So they need to step up for it to be successful, for the team to be successful, because they really haven't done a whole lot. They have no interceptions. As a team, as a whole, they have 0 interceptions. So that's not good.
No.
So, yeah, that linebacking core is going to have to do something.
How are those linebackers as far as going sideline to sideline? Because the 49ers have been taking advantage of getting outside, getting to the sideline, and that's where they've been having their big plays. How are the Eagles covering sideline to sideline?
They're going to have to stunt, and they're going to have to collapse it back inside, because even our DNs, their play hasn't been very, very good either. So all the success they've been having, they are good in the interior, good with the run game, which is going to play a big factor in this game, I think, because the 2 defensive tackles are studs, and they'll have to plug the holes and get some pressure from the ends.
So since he brought up defensive line play, can they get to the 49ers quarterback with just their defensive line? Or do they need to get creative?
I think so, because both sides of the ball, especially Niners offensive line, is hurting a bit. So we'll see. It's going to be right there in the trenches, right there between the tackles. That's going to be a telltale.
Makes sense.
And you know, with their running back situation too right now, I think that you'll have to exploit our secondary to be more successful than you probably will be.
So what about Carson Wentz? He's been the big question mark. A lot of Eagles fans, it's 50-50 right now. They're split. There's a lot of people who are still being pro Wentz and supportive, and a lot of people who are ready to throw in the towel and just get this dude out of town.
To Chicago.
Exactly.
Right.
He's been wildly erratic. The accuracy hasn't been there either this season so far. Do you believe this to be a Wentz issue, or is this more like of an offensive line issue and it's impacting his ability to beat Carson Wentz?
I think it's an offensive line issue. I mean, the first game that they played, he was sacked 8 times. And that's, he was sacked 8 times. And I think that's a huge issue where he can't get set. This game, they're going to have to, 3-step drop, a little bit of swing, just real quick hitters, because he hasn't had any time to throw, can't get set. It's affecting his whole technique. It's rough for him right now. And I think he might be a little gun shy because he's having to run and take some hits, and we all know how broken he can get. So I think that might be an issue for him. But I think he'll be okay, especially when he's got Jalen right there looking right behind him, and he's got to have to perform for sure.
with Doug Peterson and who's the GM?
Roseman?
Winning a Super Bowl very early into their period together, it seems like the honeymoon time's wearing a little bit in Philadelphia with them. Seems like, and Philadelphia is not the easiest town to keep the fans happy. Do you foresee them being on the hot seat if Philadelphia continues to struggle this year?
Well, that's the thing. They're going to be struggling starting with this game, the next 4 games are tough. They've got Pittsburgh coming up. They have Baltimore coming up. They're going to have some really tough times, especially when they're all still hurt. And a lot of them aren't coming back until at least week 6 or 7. So they're in for a rough stretch. But as you said about Philly fan, they want it and they want it all now. Yeah. So, but I don't think that they're on the hot seat at all. Okay. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of issues. They've been hurt for the last 3 years, it seems like. Last year was terrible, but they still came out with a playoff berth. Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know, because Dallas has a very good team this year. They might have to sneak in with the wild card berth. Plus, there's one extra team that comes in the wild card with this weird season that we're having. So I think that's the way they're going to have to sneak in, is through a wild card berth.
And that's going to be tough.
Very, yeah.
Because it can come from any conference.
Exactly.
And the NFC West is making a push for an all three-team playoffs.
Just remember, if they stumble to a bad season, that's the same crowd that booed Santa Claus.
Oh, right?
They did.
Well, the crowd even booed
Carson Wentz off the field.
And they weren't even
there. That was
amazing.
Great. I text everybody, even myself, I saw that, and I went, wow, they're booing Carson and no one's there.
You know, I didn't get it when you sent it to me. It took me watching twice. I was like, why are we surprised that the Eagles boo their own quarterback? Oh my God.
There's nobody there.
Who do you think is going to win this game?
I honestly think the Niners will, because we're just too hurt and we can't match up. Yeah. We just can't match up. There's no wide receivers, and your secondary, I mean, yeah, you don't have Sherman, but they're effective. And we just don't have that go-to guy. So, what do? Okay, let's watch Ertz and stop the run.
Any chance Alshon plays this week?
Yes, there is a chance. He did practice today, Wednesday, but they're evaluating him, and I think it'll be a game time decision. I mean, we'll see what they come out with the report on Friday, but yeah, he is practicing, and he did go full today. So
yeah, that's kind of how we're feeling about Debo.
I hope so. Yeah.
So would you still rather play with 10 than have Nelson Aguilar out there? Or?
Yes. Is that a quick enough answer for you?
Nelson Aguilar had more touchdown catches than the entire Eagles.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He did.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Ralph, for coming and sharing some knowledge on the Eagles. It was really fun to be able to talk and kind of get to know the Eagles a lot better, especially before this big showdown the Niners have.
Well, thank you for having me. Continued success with the podcast, and I appreciate being on here.
Thank you.
We love you, Coach.
Don't forget to subscribe.
There you go.
See, even he knows.
Yeah.
He does, guys. It's a wonderful new episode, new segment, Know Your Opponent. It was good having Coach Ralph on. If you want to be on Know Your Opponent, if you're a fan of a team that the 49ers are playing, comment down below. Let us know. We're always looking for more people to bring on to the podcast. And as always, be safe.
And remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.